I really need to watch a normal movie. Something generic, something that I could latch onto. God damn. Magical Mystery Tour, the TV movie that was made by the Beatles. That was, I guess it was based on the album, or maybe the album was based on the movie. I'm not really sure. I definitely heard about the movie for a while since I got into the Beatles when I was younger. Um, I heard about the film. Obviously, I've seen the I Am the Walrus stuff, the I Am the Walrus bit, because it's such a famous part of the Beatles canon. I own the album, and if you own the album, especially the remastered version of it, there's one thing you'll know. The booklet inside the album actually shows you scenes from the movie, so I definitely knew what the film was basically going to be about. I knew exactly how the story was going to go because it actually tells you, it actually narrates the story inside the booklet. So I knew what the film was going to be about. But when I read that booklet when I was younger, even then I knew it was going to be extremely incoherent, crazy as fuck, and I would definitely not know what to make of it. But at least the music's good, so why not watch it? And in fact, one of my subscribers actually recommended me and actually asked me to watch this film. Her name's Julia Linnea, Julia. Her name's Julia. Let's end it there. I am terrible with last names. And you know what? It's not like an epic film. It's like less than an hour long. So I thought to myself, why not? Why not just watch it? Let's just get over it. I want to watch every single film that the Beatles are in because, I've seen A Hard Day's Night. I've seen Yellow Submarine. Those two films are amazing. Help is terrible, but I've seen it and I don't regret it because it's the fucking Beatles. And now this is kind of the last one. But I know that there's the Let It Be documentary, but I'm not really sure if I want to watch that one. So, when it comes to films, obviously this is the last one. What should I fucking say about it? It really doesn't make any sense. Let's talk about the good stuff. The song sequences are genuinely good. I think most of the songs that are in the movie that are on the album are done extremely well, even if it's really simple, like the stuff with the scene where they play Full on the Hill. It's just Paul McCartney just jumping around on a rocky mountain. That's literally it. When they play Flying, it's just, helicopter shots of planes and mountains and clouds, and they just do some they just color the screen, and that's really it. Even in those simple moments, the music really goes well with the scene. Even if you don't like the song, you have to admit the simplicity is quite admirable. And then of course there are tracks like I Am the Walrus, which is done extremely well, extremely weirdly, extremely in an off-kilter way. It gets to you. I think the problem really comes when the songs are not by the Beatles, and one of the last song sequences is done by some guy, and he sings the song "Death Cab for Cutie," and it's just one of the most boring parts of the movie. Yes, there is a stripper, and the stripper actually gets naked, although the boobs are censored. But still, like, it's such a boring scene. You don't get the charisma and the presence of the Beatles in that scene. You just see John Lennon gawking at the stripper. And it's just such a boring scene, man. What the fuck should I say about this? I think um the acting's fine. Sometimes the film's funny. This film came out in 1967. This was around the time Monty Python and the Flying Circus was about to air on on TV. This came out a month after Monty Python, but it was shot a month before Monty Python came out. So it's kind of weird, but it's also interesting to see British humor back in the day. Just how weird and distorted it was. It's not the cynical loser yet relatable humor that we have today in British comedy. It's very weird and very distorted. It's almost like a time capsule of its generation alongside Monty Python's Flying Circus. So when there's this scene where a sergeant acts like a bullfighter. It's stupid, but while you're watching it, you just kind of get into it. It's almost like John Cleese is doing whatever the hell he does on Monty Python. If the sergeant was actually performed by Monty Python, one of the Monty Python actors, I feel like it would have been much more funnier. The actor's trying his best to be John Cleese, but he's really failing. I think the problem with this film, a problem that this film has, but the Monty Python TV show doesn't have, is the fact that there's no straight man in this movie. Everybody's crazy, everybody's weird, and because of that, there's not a straight man for us to relate to and to kind of observe the absurdity around the guy with. It's everybody's crazy. There's no punchline. It's just crazy, and it goes on being crazy. There's no breathing point. There's no point where you just kind of try to take things in. No, it just keeps going, and it just gets tiresome and tedious and annoying at times. There are scenes where they're obviously silly, but they not only do they last too long, they just don't serve any point. There's this bit with the Beatles being wizards, and it's pointless. They just make funny noises, and that's it. There's no real comedy going on. There's no real great performances going on. There's not even good acting going on. It just felt like expositional bullshit that they thought of after getting high. That's honestly it. Because the film is so short, I honestly didn't get a lot out of it. It's incoherent. It's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. There's a marathon scene where there's people in potato sacks, and there are, short people trying to beat tall people, and it's almost uncomfortable. It's almost like a David Lynch movie at times. And then there's this scene where John Lennon is trying to give this old lady an eating disorder, and then I don't fucking know. This film is this is what the film did to me. When I watch film, I make notes because I want to know what I'm talking about at the end of the goddamn movie. When I watched Cape Fear, these are the notes I made. I wrote a lot of stuff down here just to make sure I knew what I was talking about, and I wanted to talk in a coherent manner on camera. You know what I fucking wrote for Magical Mystery Tour? This was it. This was it, because after a certain point, I didn't really know what to say. I was just staring at it, just trying to make heads or tails of it. What the fuck was going on? What is the story? I'm pretty sure it's not trying to say anything. I'm pretty sure it was just a decent, just an artistic way of making a commercial for the album. And you know what? That is being done in a much better way these days. Like Beyonce's Lemonade's an amazing example of that. But fuck it, I don't know what to say about this movie. If you want to see the Beatles doing whatever the fuck they're doing here, go ahead. If you want to see old ladies getting eating disorders, and George Harrison almost getting hit by a bus, and short people running with tall people in potato sacks, if you want to see all of that, go ahead. I'm done. I want to sleep now. I don't give a fuck now. There's no rating. I can't rate a movie that's not trying. So, I heard that there was no script for this movie, and it just shows, man. Fuck. I don't know.